Welcome to the Studio 2023 and this discussion on driving business impact through data-empowered experience. Thank you for joining me today. What is the importance of data-empowered experience in today's business landscape?
Data is a key to unlock value for organizations. And there has been a lot of work done already. So I think most organizations are dealing with data in one sort or another. But a lot of times it's very siloed, and a lot of times it's disjointed from the front-facing element of the organization. So basically the experience, and that can be the customer experience or the employee experience.
We operate in the knowledge economy. In fact, I think there are very few companies that can say that they don't operate in the digital and knowledge economy. And the currency of the knowledge economy is data.
The narrative around data has changed, and has changed probably quicker than organizations have been able to keep up. So a narrative has changed from a past tense, data told us stuff about things that had happened, to a present tense, data is telling us stuff about things that are happening, to a future tense, we need to use data to anticipate and plan and react.
There's lots of data, there's more data than we've probably ever had in our lives, and actually it's how you bring that into insights. And actually data doesn't provide you insights, it's actually what you do with that data and join it with your business model that actually drives the insight. And I think it's actually understanding how do you take the organisation on that cultural change is really key to making sure it succeeds.
If we look at it from the consumer experience perspective and from the employee experience perspective, I think that people are really struggling nowadays to cope with the increasing amount of information and interactions which they need to make.
How can we use data and design then to change the employee experience, the employee proposition, and then how does that benefit the customer? Is anyone sort of tackling that?
The actual art of how we drive data and bringing it centrally is understanding how we can get vertical through our organisations. You know, everything from forecasting demand to making the right products. That's not a commercial unit or a finance unit or supply chain. It's the harmonisation of getting people to think in that way.
If you have created a data culture or an insight culture inside your organisation that spans those boundaries, then you will have different conversations about productivity. You'll look more horizontally around your organisation and you'll make very different decisions.
I think the next challenge is not a data challenge. I think that's 100% right. It's a human challenge. It's an interaction challenge. It's an experience challenge. How do you move from providing lots of data to your organization and lots of dashboards, lots of insights tools? How do you make the data actionable? And I think 100% you have to intervene that within the experience, either for your customer or for your employees.
We've talked about data and empowering the employees with that data. What about how they're accessing that data and using that in terms of the consumerization of devices and what have you? How is that changing the workplace? You're not just putting data out there, but you're connecting it to the devices, and you know, we've got manufacturing, we've got healthcare. Industries typically are not where you see a lot of mobile phones, tablets, etc. That I know, but tell us, that landscape is changing, isn't it?
I would say on the opposite. So I think that actually COVID really helped digitalization. I think that now everybody sees it. And employees got used to have access to the information on the go. So I think that one of the tasks in front of every organization is how to ensure that people have access to the data at the right point of time.
I think the last 4 years with COVID and also the push towards collaboration it's brought a certain level of norm around that technology. So everybody expects to be able to collaborate, expects to be able to work on things together. I think the industry is going through the same cycle in terms of data, in terms of there'll be an expectation that when I turn up to those business moments of decision, that the technology will present me with the insights I need to help me execute my role.
You're absolutely right. COVID changed the way people interact with devices, with technology, and also how companies interact with their IT teams. You know, the bar suddenly got set real high. And, post-COVID, everyone's got to, because no one lets the bar go down afterwards.
I agree with all the points. I mean, there's no doubt that technology is helping us do our jobs better, it's augmenting the way we do things, etc. But the one thing that we're not really focusing on is the real impact and sometimes the unforeseen impact of technology on people. So we are the always on generation, the work from anywhere, anytime generation. And now we are adding generative AI as well as work automation into the mix.
A number of CIOs have spoken to me lately, and ethics is coming up. It feels to me that that's one of the emerging trends of technology leadership, is actually to be as much an ethical leader as a business leader and a technological leader. And guess what? As CIO or CTO or CTPO, you've got to be all of those. Am I right in that analysis? And are there other emerging trends that you're seeing happening that both technological and sort of business and cultural?
I don't see that the trend of personalization is going to reduce, because I don't think that companies really unlocked personalization of experience, and neither for employees nor for consumers. I think that we are probably at the beginning of the journey, given that what we were just discussing at the very beginning, the data in organizations are still in silos by departments, so we still don't have this holistic view at the data.
I mean, it's really difficult. If you ask an organization, do you want more data about your customers? They'll go, yes, of course, give me more data. If you ask them what they're going to do with that data, you often get very different answers. So there's a bit of a why question here. We know the technology can get us pretty much everything we need, but why do we need it?
I'm going to try and connect all the dots because I think they're really connected with the opportunity that comes from large language models, AI, this new technology that is emerging in the organization. There is this opportunity to redesign the organization with a much more ethical and human point of view. So we can use these tools to actually make work better. And we are on that shift. So we're saying, COVID did a lot of these changes. We had to adapt to a much more human-centered way of looking at work. And I think this technology is another shift that leaders can use to be able to redesign their organizations to be much more ethical, to be much more human-centered, to be designed for the better.
Thank you all for a fascinating debate. It's been really interesting. And thank you for tuning in to this Hot Topics debate.